So friends, please take your seats because our next presentation is about to begin. We all have the word addiction associated with something, and we would probably all agree that to be addicted to video games, it's not such a bad thing. Some of them, maybe. But how it is with addiction will tell us Martin Boháč from Allodium, and he has some experiences with addiction, with addictive gameplay, and with all stuff that's somehow connected to addiction in games. Now he's packing his backpack, so he probably wants to leave and run away. So we have to give him a few minutes. So raise your hands if you are addicted to video games. Okay, that's not so many of you. It should be like all of you, no? So let's do it again. Are you addicted to video games? Yes. Better, much better. Now Martin is ready. He's here. Please give him a welcome, and hello. It's yours.
Hello. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Pavel, for the nice introduction. So this talk is about 4 months in making. It's based on my experience for the several, maybe 6-7 years. It's also based on the stuff that I have been trained on some very expensive lottery trainings. And you can approach this talk with like 2 different hats. You can have the black hat, and you are here to learn, okay, how to manipulate my players best so I sell the most. Or you can say, okay, I don't want my game to be addictive at all, and I want to remove everything that this guy will be talking about from my games. And it's up to you. Most of the people are somewhere on the spectrum. And as we will see during this talk, it's a little bit mixed, and it's not white and black as you might think. So in order to understand how we are on addiction, Pavel a little bit stole that from me, but I'd like to do a little poll, but I don't want you to be showing exactly what you might be or might have been in your life addicted to. So I'll be just saying a few words, and please count how many of those stuff have you ever had a problem with. So news, email, notifications. Maybe you are a smoker. Maybe you abuse alcohol. Or you spend way too much time on social media. Or on YouTube. Or at porn sites. Or you play games a lot. Mainly online games, gacha games. Maybe your thing is adrenaline. Or gambling. Or crypto, which is gambling, but a little bit hidden. Okay, is there anybody who has a 0? Nobody. My daughter. Okay. I trust her. Okay, 1, 2, more. Okay, good. So you're on the right talk. So does this work? Cool. So this is the definition of addiction. Basically, it's that you are repeatedly involved with something that gives you pleasure, but at the same time it's taking something from you. It's harming you. And you have like problem with stopping that. And since we all know that we are all addicted to something, or have been, we can ask this question, are you really so stupid? Like, why? Like, we are like these sentient Homo sapiens beings, like, how can we get addicted so easily? There's actually an answer for that. The thing is that this part of the brain, the frontal cortex, is like very precious and expensive real estate in the brain. Brain takes a lot of energy, but this part takes 20% on average of our energy. So the brain is trying to save energy, not to expend it too much. So, for example, when we go somewhere, for example, we are choosing where we're gonna go for a dinner, and we have like this fast food restaurant or like good restaurant where they make healthy food. And the first time we're deciding, and we're standing on the street, we're like, do I go there? Do I go there? And we're just judging all that possibilities, and we're using the frontal cortex. So you do this 5 times, and after 5 times, when you went into the McDonald's or wherever, your brain is like, okay, it's like understood question, we just go there. every time. And then it's not anymore decided by your frontal cortex, it's actually decided by your midbrain. And there is no decisions there. So you are just a programmed robot. At that time you enter that, you see that, okay, I'm gonna go to McDonald's right there. And there is no more decisions. So you might see that sometimes you just end up doing stuff that you don't understand why you're doing. And that's exactly because you are not doing them anymore. Your midbrain is. So normally, we think that during the waking time, we are like, it's us, right? But actually, it's only 5% of the time that we're actually using these decision capabilities of our brain. The rest is automatic behavior. We are basically like robots, and we can program ourselves, and we actually do program ourselves through our habits. And then when we decide enough times on something, we just do it all the time. So 95% of the time, we are like, or 95% of the time itself, we are just following some program that we programmed ourselves to do. So in this world, I see everything is addictive. Not maybe everything, but a lot of stuff. Most of the stuff that we eat, a lot of stuff that we drink, definitely everything that we smoke, a lot of stuff that we watch, or in any other way engage with. But why? Because it sells. It sells really well. And everybody knows that. So our society as a whole got really good at that. And every product marketeer and everybody is like pushing addiction to the maximum top. So when you, for example, enter grocery store, what do you see? Alcohol, sugar, tobacco, and hazard. Those are the stuff that the everywhere in all like this Vietnamese grocery stores that's like right there in front of you. And so everybody's pushing this to the legal limit they are able to do for us to buy more. And because of that, we are something like a cacti in a rainforest. How do I mean it? It's actually from this book, really good, read it. It's because that we, as a humans, we developed in a completely different environment. We are meant to live as foragers, you know, picking berries, hunting deer, doing that kind of stuff in groups of like 50, 60 people. We are totally not adapted to living in this world where we can have everything all the time. If you would like to have something sweet, like 3,000 years ago, you would have to find some honey. Finding honey is dangerous and hard. You would do it maybe for 2 days. Then you get some sweet. Now you want something sweet, you get it immediately. But we are, as ourselves, our dopamine systems and our brain are adapted to living in that pastime. But now we can have everything. So it completely, the today's world completely messes up with our brains and ability to do stuff. But we're probably not gonna solve all the society problems here. So let's just focus on games. So this is me. My name is Martin Boháč. I'm the CEO of Allodium Games. And we started the company 17 years ago, made 3 MMO games, started a game dev school, Game Dev Hub, and also we make lottery games, like it or not. And when we started doing that about 8 years ago, I was questioning myself, am I doing something wrong? Maybe, yeah. So I started digging in, like what really makes, because I don't want to like ruin anybody's life. So I was thinking, okay, so how can I know if I'm doing something wrong or not? So I really started digging into what makes the addicts addicted. And this talk is the result of that. And every good talk should have something extraordinary or a little bit counterintuitive. So this is my claim. You might not agree with it. But in reality, there is a spectrum, you know, from like games that don't make you addicted to games that make you like immediately horribly addicted. And there is a spectrum. And you probably wouldn't put the games somewhere where I would now, but we'll see if you will at the end. So gambling is something inherently wrong, right? It's something that a lot of people do, much more people than actually play video games, like way more. And when you are really addicted to gambling, it means that you are at least 2 times a week play for at least 4 hours. And you might think that the gamblers are there to win money, right? It's like, obviously, you're going to win money. Actually, it's not the case. They come to win the money because they're like, oh, this is like these huge prizes, I'm going to win. But then they kind of change, and they stay to erase themselves because they can be calm. They can be out of their reality, out of their problems. And this is why they come back to the casino. It's very predictable, actually, for them. And about like 0.5% to up to 3%, depending on the country, this European data, can get like heavily addicted, and they have problems, and obviously they lose a lot of money, they get like gambling addiction, and basically they try to destroy their lives. If somebody, if this happens to somebody, normally 8 people around him will be also affected by this. So we know that like gambling is wrong, right? But are video games better? So in the last decade, 24 people died because they were playing video games that have been addictive. Mostly it had been murder or some like health issue that they died during like 60-hour marathon of playing some online game. And it's also not really pretty. So we should be honest and see that even video games can have very dire consequences. And that's because it's not really white and black. There's the spectrum. And video games today are very much to the evil part of the spectrum. Many of them. But gamers also can suffer from something which is called gaming disorder. I don't know if you heard or experienced that. It means that you lose control over frequency of how much you play. You give priority to gaming over everything else. Because of that, you will probably be unemployed, maybe chronically, because you will be buying a lot of stuff from these online stores. You will get into debt. And because like you will not have many friends who don't play, you will socially withdraw from everybody else which doesn't play, which is exactly the same as with gamblers. And then, because you are so alone and sitting on your ass all the time, you will get some health issues. Actually, 23% of students of universities in Europe suffer from more or less severe addiction to video games. And you can imagine how many of them don't finish the university, and their life, because of that, changes for a completely different life. That might be happier, definitely involves more gaming, but maybe they make less money, maybe they don't find their mate of their life, who knows? So I think we should start asking serious questions, like, do we like to be addicted? What is the difference between addiction and engagement? Because engagement is something that should be high, right? So if we are raising engagement, are we raising addiction levels too? And is actually a good game design a good use of manipulation techniques? And can you actually survive with your game in this super saturated market if you don't use any? Maybe you make a walking simulator. There's probably not many manipulation techniques there. And if you know all this, can it actually like protect you? So in order to answer these questions, we need to a little bit dig into the habit making, decision making, and habit formation. So the first thing is our decision system. And it works something like this. So we experience something, some phenomena around us through our senses, and then we understand that through our memory, and then we get an emotion out of that. And that emotion directly leads us into action. What's funny about this is that even if we don't understand the situation correctly, we will get an emotion, probably wrong one, and we would act on that wrong emotion. I'm sure that happened to everybody here. And if we do these decisions enough times, they turn into habits. And habits work something like this. So first is a cue. Cue means that you find something that is a trigger for you, right? It can be a notification on your mobile phone. It can be that you wake up. It can be that you go outside of your office or you see an ad. Then you get craving, which means that you are suffering an unpleasant emotional state, like, oh, I really want that cigarette, or I really want to go to that movie, or something like that. And if you get cravings, it's a sign that your addiction, or at least the habit, is very well formed in your brain. And then the routine follows up, which is an automatic behavior. It's the response part. And you go and you do that automatic stuff through your midbrain. And then, so for example, you start scrolling social media, you brush your teeth, you smoke a cigarette, or you launch your favorite game. And then you get into the reward phase, which actually strengthens the habit. And the reward is like you feel entertained, you feel good after smoking one, you have nice breath, or something else that you like. So how can we actually create such thing in humans? So we can use manipulation. And manipulation, I deliberately chose this image because people normally think, okay, the women, they are manipulative. It's actually totally not the case. Maybe it is. But we are all manipulative. What manipulation really means that I, as a manipulator, can induce an emotion in you, the target. If I am able to create an emotion in you, then, because you go from emotion into action, you are mine. So you can use emotion like anger, desire, pity. And you can promise that there will be a good emotion if the target follows, or that you will remove a bad emotion. You make somebody feel bad, and then, okay, you do this, and then you can stop feeling bad. That's manipulation for you. And the important part of this is that you also offer a behavioral alternative to that state. Okay, so you need to do this, and there's the only option. That's how you manipulate. And the funny thing is that there is actually nobody who can manipulate you. It's always you. If somebody is able to create an emotional state in you, then you are totally able to be manipulated. So if you are able to withstand emotional states, then you are very well protected. But if you get angry every time you see something wrong on Facebook or so, and these social media are training us to be very much prone to manipulation, don't use them. I don't have Facebook. Well, like just a tiny bit. Then you can protect yourselves in this way. This whole field, the research in it, started way back. This experiment, which is called the Skinner box, is from the 40s and the 50s. It's actually a very clever one. They were testing how rats, and it's very relevant to games, how rats respond to good stimuli and bad stimuli. So the rat can get some food pellets, or it can be electrocuted from the bottom of the cage. And depending on how many pellets you give to the rat, the response follows. So if you give her just one pellet per one press, then it will normally work. If you give her random amount of pellets, only sometimes, then she will get completely addicted. So from this we know that reinforcement encourages behavior repetition. And that these different rewards modify the probability and frequency of the response that we want. So if you want to protect yourself, I recommend training in emotional resilience. You can, for example, use mindfulness, which is like a meditation stripped of all Buddhism and all, which basically gives you like a breathing time before you get into the emotion. So you get the experience, understanding, and then you have like a pause if you do it regularly. And you can decide, okay, am I gonna get angry now, or am I gonna like slide it? And this breathing space is immensely valuable in all life, talking to your partner, for example, but also not being manipulated by others. So let's look at the games that are actually on this spectrum. So live games, and we'll be talking about games in general. Like I'll be mixing video games and hazard games because they are all games. For people, for thousands of years, we called games games, and now we just created like this, okay, this is video games, this is like the other games, but in reality, for many people, they don't make this distinction. So live games is something like, be a man, you know, go to the casino, bet your house, and then kill yourself if you lose. It's something like a heroic encounter with fate, right? That you're the man, really. And you can try to outsmart everybody else, like in poker or something. And so the model is like you're betting everything you have unless you're like leaving. And at the end, one of you at the table will have it all. It's definitely very addictive, but it has like this nice social feature. Maybe you're like Russian roulette also into it. But, you know. Then there is lottery, something that we actually work on. Partly. This image that you see is actually a painting of by Vincent van Gogh, and it's a lottery somewhere. The first lottery actually started in 1441 in Bruges. So we have lotteries for 600 years. Firstly, lotteries were used to decide like who's gonna take care about the treasury and the amount of crops, so nobody can like cheat. But then they thought, okay, maybe like we need money for that, and we don't want to put another tax, so let's create like opt-in tax, which is lottery. The business model of lottery is basically, you give me 100, I give you back 60. And to one of you, maybe I'm gonna give 1 million. But the rest of you will definitely lose, but since the frequency of the game is very slow, you're not gonna be so addicted to it. It's basically, lottery is something like if you have a slot and you pull the lever and you wait for 3 days for the reels to stop, and then you know. So it's not really much addictive, and absolute total majority of people can handle it and have a good time with it. Interestingly, you know, these Euro Millions and so on, people don't queue up when there is just like 100 million euro. Because now the top, I think, is like about 200 million euro. So when it's like just 100, it's like people, I don't want to like 100 million euro, I don't care, like there's no money for me, like, you know. But when it's like 200 million, like everybody's like queuing there. So if you want to win lottery, go there when it's like half of the main price. Sorry. That's horrible, excuse me. Lottery also have very low RTP, which is return to player, which means that for the money that you bet, we're gonna give you not much back, maybe 60% of that. So that means that if you bet repeatedly, you're gonna lose all your money very quickly, and there will not be enough frequency and repetition for you to form these toxic habits. It's actually quite okay. What's not quite okay is the slot games, because that's the complete opposition. They started in 1880. That was the first nickel in the slots. That was the first slot machine in the US market. And it got really popular. It was mechanical. And they got really, really popular during the 1930 depression. Because at that time, nobody had any money. So all the gas stations and shops were also like not selling anything, but they all had these slot machines. So basically the whole American economy sustained itself through the slot machines. It got so popular that in the 50s, they were like literally everywhere. And in the 60s, they have been banned everywhere, except Nevada, of course, Las Vegas, and army bases. So I guess if you're like willing to risk your life in the war, well, you can risk your money too. Of course, slots are very addictive, and it's because the RTP, the return to player, is super high. It can be like 99%, 99.5 even. Some of them even have 100% return rate, which means you have to make mistake for the casino to make money. It's like video poker games. So this is horrible. It looks like this. They look really nice now. Maybe you haven't seen like these. They're like super flashy, like perfect high-end graphic cards and so on. But still, there is certification. And you, as an owner, you cannot cheat. You will be banned, and you will be sanctioned crazily if you do that. And there are actually like very rigorous processes that check this. On the other hand, in video games, you can do a lot of other stuff. Like premium games, I'm gonna like go through because we all know this is like a normal experience. The model is you buy the game, you play the game, you enjoy, voila, super fun time. It's a little bit different when you're trying to sell DLC and you're trying to make the game and like include many more purchases into the game, but still have it like on Steam and have it like a big game. But there is some motivation to make the players addicted, so they buy all your additional stuff. So you make more money. So there is like a little incentive, little motivation to make you addicted a little bit. And then we get into these games, like gacha games, freemium games, in-app purchases, and so on. And because there is no regulation, you can do anything. You can cheat all the time. You can just present players with like loot boxes that never contain anything. And you just like see how much money you make, and okay, I will give this loot box to this guy. And then you can try making players play against others, and when they win too much, you just make them lose in a match, because that will make them motivated, because they will be frustrated. You can do everything. And honestly, from what I've seen, a lot of these games, or almost all, are using everything that they can. And we'll be talking about 15 different mechanics that you can actually use or not use. But these things cheat a lot. Actually, in these games, you can also A/B test cheating, which is absolutely crazy. So you can like do all this stuff, which is absolutely out of the topic for like lottery games and like even casino games. It's like so way to the evil part, in my opinion. So how is it possible to do this? How can we create the addiction in the players? Is it actually the fault of the player? Are the people who are addicted, like, as we said, stupid? Are they like, a little bit like maybe their parents were bad to them, so that's why they play, and they lose everything because they cannot sustain themselves? Or is it the games, actually? That the games actually change their brains so they can be more manipulated. So the first thing that you want to do if you want to create something that will change the brain of your customer is that you need to create a subjective shift. Subjective shift is that you transport the player somewhere else. You can experience subjective shift if you get out of your office and you smoke a cigarette and you're standing there and you're just, wow, there's no more work. For those 5 minutes, you are somewhere else. Your subject shifted somewhere else. You are in your like happy place. And this is what addictions do. They transport us immediately into our happy place, so we want to go there back and back and back and back. Also, the very important thing is that in this like new space, rules that we normally adhere to don't apply. So our perception of risk, reward, or control is different. And the faster we can get this shifting done, the more it works. So there has been this previous presentation. So maybe RPG games, are they changing our shift, like subjective shift a lot? Because then we are like somebody else who's playing something else. I think they do. I actually like them for that. Another important thing is frequency, and that's like the really, really important one. So the higher frequency correlates with higher addiction potential. So obviously, slot manufacturers gravitate towards like insane frequency. On this first nickel in the slot, there was just one line, right? They have been adding lines and blah, 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 blah. And then like in the 15s, they have been like 9 lines. And from that time till now, like these new slot machines, they have 500 lines that you can bet on. So you have no idea actually what's like happening. It's just doing ding, 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 ding. And you're like sitting there like oblivious in your own private universe. So we want to stimulate the brain, energize it and let it rest and do it rapidly. So these cycles of like affective peaks and dips. So if you have a game loop, for example, let's say Diablo. You go and you slash, 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 you get the loot, you slash, 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 get the loot. You see, it's like when you're playing a slot machine. Like you bet, you slash, 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 you receive, you win something, or you lose something, or you die. But the point is that you get into this cycle. And the faster is your game loop, the core game loop, like drrr, the more it will be addictive for the players. The longer it is, the less addictive. So if I need to walk somewhere for an hour in Walking Simulator, it's not going to be much addictive. But if I'm going to play some like gacha game, which is like insanely fast, then it's definitely going to be very, very addictive. So you can ask yourself if your core game loop gives ability to the players or possibility to the players that they can get like excited and then rest. Excited and rest. Another very important thing is the reward schedule. Like how are we gonna be rewarded? And we learn to be rewarded as kids because our parents give us nice stuff when we behave well. Maybe they punish us a little bit when we don't behave. So we learn that we are like little bit monkeys, blah, blah, blah. So we know that this reward scheduling can reinforce behaviors. And it depends on frequency, on the pattern. It's very important how the reward is given or withheld, and not as much on the total gain or loss. So I can sit at the slot machine, lose all my money, but still be happy and think I was winning all the time. It's actually really the case. So we know that the less powerful but more frequent reinforcements work the best. And if you do this correctly, you will get the players into the flow state. You've probably heard about the flow state somewhere in your life, and it's normally perceived as something good. You play a game and you get really into it, you are in your flow state. You play tennis and you're really good at that, you're in your flow state. You learn something and you can get in the flow state, and that can actually help you a lot, but it can also make you very addicted if you are in this. It means that you are completely aligned with your action and external response to that action. That the action and reward have like this perfect contingency. That means that you will get absorbed in that what you're doing. The thing is that we have like two systems of thinking. One is the fast system, which you use normally, like I'm go here, and so. And then there is the deep thinking, the second, which is like I'm gonna really think it through. It's using the frontal cortex. But if you get into this flow state, you are only using the first one, the fast one. And the fast one is completely prone to bias, manipulation, and all these tactics. So these hacks can be used very effectively against us. And actually, when you are in this flow state, and you're, for example, playing the game, you are functionally autistic. So how to create a flow state, if you want to take a screenshot. There are several rules that you need to follow, and this is the way you should do it if you want to put it into your game. It should be predictable, it should be fast, and players can like see, okay, I need to do this, and I'm really good at that. So you don't want them to start thinking deeply. And if they can if you play like some shooter or something, you get into this state very quickly. And if you do this really well, then you get the players into the zone. And that's a grim place, actually. That happens when you have like this emotional ups and downs, and they create affective calm. So you come into the casino and like, oh, F, that all happened bad in my day, but now I'm here. You sit there and you immediately become calm very quickly. So you might think that for the players it's like unpredictable what's going to happen, but it's actually not the case. It's actually maximally predictable. It's like this stable point in the universe. It's like this tension between risk and reward motivates you just to keep playing. So let me quote, "Most people define gambling as pure chance, where you don't know the outcome. But at the machines I do know, either I'm going to win or I'm going to lose. I don't care if it takes coins or give coins. The contract is that when I put a new coin in, get 5 new cards, and press those buttons, I am allowed to continue." That's why they are there. So they want to play as long as possible. They know they will lose all that money. It's like, it's a given. But they just want to spend as long time as possible in this state. And when they play, they get the tunnel vision, which actually happens even in the like video game parlors in like Korea, where they have like, these huge, like hundreds of people playing together on like online games, and there's a guy who died. Nobody actually cared about him for like 2 days until he started to smell. Nobody noticed. And they get so much of a tunnel vision. Then in Las Vegas, there are reports of like people getting stroke, lying on the ground, like dying actually, ER personnel coming to help them, and there's a guy playing the slot, like the guy is like dying right next to him, and he wouldn't move his chair to allow for the ER personnel to help him. Probably the guy didn't even see that. He's just there. So once the players are caught by this repeat action, no rational action is possible. And that can happen even in like video games. It's like you're like literally paralyzed by playing. Let me quote one more. So she was a charming 75-year-old woman whose average gambling time was 72 hours. She used to wear double-layered, dark, woolen pants so she could urinate a couple of times without anybody noticing. Because they like actually literally cannot raise themselves up. So we can ask if this is something common just for normal games or for all games, because sometimes this can happen anywhere. And it's being said that when you are at the machines, in the flow state, you are the machine, and the machine is you. And I think it's almost true that you are the game, and the game is you, when you are like really deep enough. So, let's open the box of the techniques. So there will be no more pictures now. There will be just the techniques. So if you want to take screenshots of these slides, there will be actually 15 different mechanics that we'll go through. I think we have nice time to go through it, so you can take screenshots if you like. So the first one, we're going from the like nice ones to the really evil ones. First one is like personalized targeting. That's basically based on tracking your behavior online, and then you can give like whatever to the player if you see that he follows the path that you really like. This is like used by everybody mostly. The next one basically creates a FOMO, like fear of missing out effect. So you are like pushing a little bit to the fear of the player that he will not be able to get this like really nice item that I'm giving you right now, and that will be here just for 5 more minutes, which is actually totally a lie, but because I'm like giving that to everybody, but you don't know. So you can be manipulated very well with this. It's trying to make a quick decision. So you jump on it and you buy it right now. All these flash sales, all these like Black Fridays and whatnot, it's all, everybody's using this. Then, obviously, we have like the more gaming stuff. Gamification achievements work with the brain reward system. It's creating a sense of progression. So even in something that you would normally think that is like, it's going to take me 3 years to finish this game, but if I put like gamification and like these achievements there, then you have some sense, okay, I finished something, I got this badge, I got this new item, something that might not be tangible to the game, it's actually giving you some happy feeling. Another one, still quite nice, actually very much used on social media, is like using the peer effect. So we are social creatures. We want to be seen by others and understood by others, liked by others, because if we're not, we might be expelled from our forager tribe. What does that mean? Die. So we are like evolved to look for thumbs up. Facebook uses that, all the social media uses that. It's super fucking toxic to your brain. Don't let yourself being exposed to that because it's gonna really mess with your reward system. It's not a nice thing. Thumbs up is not sharing is caring. It's absolute BS. So don't do it. If you need, know that it's addiction right there. The next thing is unlockables, some like hidden content. It creates anticipation. So you are like craving, like, what's gonna be there? Like, can I find something? Can I find something more? It's like you're being curious. It's still quite like nice, and it's normally being used in most video games that have like some of the stuff. The next thing is basically a good game design, right? This is what you would hear like, okay, make games and make their nice like wave. And the wave, frequency of the wave, you remember? And then you raise the bar. But never allow the player to feel that they finished, that they actually succeeded. It's like this carrot, and you see the carrot and then the carrot moves back, and you're like running more, and then you run really, really fast. Like in these like games, mostly in like online games, you are like super good compared to the noobs that are there. But still, you cannot touch the carrot. You can just see it. Maybe it's closer, some it's further. It works very well. The important part is that you find this optimal balance where the carrot is. It cannot be too far, because then it's unattainable. And if it's too close, then it's like I can touch it, and it wouldn't work. And now we're going to go into the dark methods. So the first one is using loss aversion against the player. So it's based on the fact that we actually feel a loss more acutely than actually the pleasure of gaining something. So if we already have something, because it's like this bird on the roof and the other bird in your hand. Sorry, I don't know the name of the bird. I know just the pigeon. It's like you don't want to lose what you already have, because you might die, that might be your only food, to risk for something else. So if you can threaten the player with losing something, for example, login streaks, use this. So you have like 7-day login streak. Are you going to waste your week of logging in by not logging today? It's up to you. It's up to you. So this works really well. And it's absolutely, it's kind of evil. It's like really pushing into your fear mechanisms and trying to use your survival mechanisms against you, actually. Then there is this other thing, which is like a little bit similar, but it works in a way that when you've already spent money, and if you look like on these like advertisements for gacha games, you see that they are using like investment. They are saying like, oh, you can select this game, and that's an investment for you, because you're gonna pay like $600 to get all that stuff. So are you stupid that you spend so much money? No, you've invested into your game. You've invested like half of your salary into items that have zero value, but you can now play this game, and you will continue playing this game because you've invested into other games you haven't invested, so why would you play them? Because you would lose your sunk cost. It's the same in actually casino players or like even lottery players where they're like trying to win back the money, which is impossible and absolutely a stupid idea, but people try it. The next one it's a really bad one. It's using the negative reinforcement. It's basically that you create a negative stimuli because people will engage in behaviors that help them avoid negative consequences, even if the behavior becomes compulsive. So if you don't have addicted players and you want to force them to become addicted, you can use this to like, you go there and now you repeat the habit 5 times, oh, now you're mine. This is also very much used in a lot of games. So for example, you can remove some items after a period of inactivity and do stuff like this and like really threaten the player a little bit more. The next one, used very widely, is the infinite loop. You know, the hamster running in the wheel? So that's people using social media. When you like, swipe up, yeah, hello hamster, swipe up. You're just not running, you're just swiping up. But it's the same, the mechanic is that there is no end to it. And so you will be thinking, is there something more for me? Can I get some more dopamine? Can I get a more hit? Please, please, please give me more. Give me more. So it's like endless content that's just one swipe away. Very heavily used by TikTok, for example. And the funny thing about this is that they don't give you the reward every time, because this is intermingled with the intermittent reinforcement, which will be coming up now, which means that you don't get, for example, on TikTok, you don't get the video that you like. The TikTok really knows well what you like, and they're not giving it to you every time. So sometimes you will be rewarded with the stuff that you really like, and sometimes not. And that completely decouples this action from the reaction. So then you have like no way, and you are like the rat in the Skinner box, just pressing all the time. Then we have a quite insidious one, which is partial wins, which means that you allow the player to feel like they won even if they lost. So basically, they bet 100 and you let them win back 50, but you make the slot machine do all those jingles as if they are winning. So for the brain, because it's connected to this like experience, they will think, okay, I'm winning. The next one is the near miss, which is basically when you make the player lose, and there was no chance of winning, but you actually make it seem that he was just like, there was just last jackpot symbol, and I would have won, which really motivates the player to try again, even it's absolute BS. It's absolutely not the case, but it works really well. It recasts the lose as a potential win. This works because there is this, there's this theory of cognitive regret, which means that you will try to repair your mistakes. And then we get into the actual intermittent reinforcement, which is the last one. It's actually 5 different ways you can do it, and it's the most powerful one. It's based on this Skinner box, and you can give the player the reward based on time they spent. So it's completely decoupled from what they do. Yeah? See, after time, so there is like a fixed interval, like every 1 minute you will get something, every random minute you will get something, or like every 5 tries you will get something, or random number of tries you will get something, and you will also get random reward. Or you can do this like progressive thing, that you increase the amount, but also you increase the bets. This is used in all social media, in many online games, and it just makes our brains completely lose track of what we are doing, and we are just sitting there mid-brain using all our energy, and we're just there. There is nothing you can do about it, because it works because you want to see if something valuable will appear next time, maybe next time, maybe next time. So every time you get a reward, no matter how small, this circuitry will be reinforced. So you will think that it's gonna work. Because there is something which is called predictability fatigue, which means that if you can predict what's gonna happen next time, that you will be bored. But since you cannot predict anything because it's completely random, or in case of like online and normal video games, it's even cheated against you, then you will not get fatigued. So you will perceive the wins as more precious. And it also prolongs playing sessions. There is a second slide to this technique because there's a lot of it. So you cannot predict when you're going to win, and you're going to try more and more. And this creates habit loops very, very effectively because it keeps your brain searching for patterns, even where there is none, and you will do it forever. And that leads to a very persistent behavior. So before the questions, I have a question for you. As I said, you can use this talk to be white hat or black hat. It's totally up to you. But I would like to ask you, or you can ask yourselves, or we can talk about it later. If you understand now how addicts work, what addiction does to our brain, what it does to our society, what does it tell you that political power is also addictive? Thank you.